My fiancé's sister, my trusted confidant, shattered my world by revealing my hidden $6 trust fund at our proposal dinner, exposing my lies and leaving my carefully crafted life in ruins. I'm Jonas Delgado, 29, a graphic designer based in Asheville, North Carolina, a city I chose for its artsy vibe and mountain air. Born in Tacoma, Washington to Filipino-American parents, I grew up in a tight-knit, working-class family. My mom, Lila, 56, and dad, Renato, 58, ran a corner grocery store, the kind with flickering fluorescent lights and shelves stocked with canned adobo and Spam. They worked 12-hour days, their hands calloused, their smiles tired but warm. I was their only kid, taught to value hustle over handouts, to never act above anyone. They're still in Tacoma, retired now, living off a modest pension and unaware of the secret I've carried since I was 25. That secret? A $6 million trust fund from my maternal grandfather Mateo, who died when I was 10. Grandpa Mateo was a ghost in our lives. Mom rarely spoke of him, only mentioning he'd done well in real estate. Turns out, he'd built a quiet empire flipping properties in Seattle's boom years, amassing wealth he hid from everyone, including Mom. Why? I pieced it together later. He didn't want his kids fighting over money or losing their drive. When his will was read, I was the only grandchild named, gifted a trust I could access at 25. The lawyer's office smelled of old leather when he slid the papers across, explaining the terms. I was stunned. $6 million untouchable until I was mature enough. Mom wasn't told. No one was. I've never touched the money. It sits in a low-risk fund, growing like a silent tumor. Why? Fear, mostly. I saw what money did to people. Cousins in Tacoma who hit small lotteries and burned through it. Friends who chased clout and lost themselves. I didn't want to be that guy. The rich jerk who forgets his roots. So, I built a life that screamed, average. I rent a 600-square-foot loft in Asheville, all exposed brick and creaky floors, for $100 to $200 a month. My car's a 2011 Toyota Corolla with a dented fender. I tell people I hustle as a freelancer, taking just enough design, gigs to cover bills. My wardrobe, thrifted tees and scuffed boots. Only my cat Mango knows I'm not broke. She gets the fancy wet food. Enter my fiancé, Clara Hensley, 27, a pottery teacher with wild curls and a laugh like wind chimes. We met 3 years ago at a local art fair. She was selling mugs with tiny clay frogs on them, and I bought one just to keep her talking. Clara's Asheville born and bred, her family a mix of old Appalachian stock and New Age hippies. Her parents, Dale and Marla, both 60, run a small farm outside town, growing heirloom tomatoes and hosting yoga retreats. Clara's got no patience for pretense. She wears overalls unironically and calls out BS with a grin. It's why I love her. We got engaged last month, a quiet moment on a hiking trail, just us and a cheap silver ring I saved up for. Then there's Tessa, Clara's older sister, 31, my closest friend here. Tessa's a bartender at a craft brewery, all sharp wit, and dyed blue hair with a knack for reading people. She's the only one I told about the trust fund 2 years ago, after too many IPAs at her bar. I swore her to secrecy, explaining how I wanted to stay normal, how I didn't want Clara or anyone treating me like a walking ATM. Tessa got it, or so I thought. She'd tease me sometimes, whispering millionaire when I'd haggle. Over a $5 coffee, but it felt safe. She was family after all. The rest of the crew? Clara's best friend, Priya, 28, a nurse with a loud laugh, and her husband Leo, 30, a carpenter. There's also my coworker, Desmond, 33, a chill illustrator, who thinks I'm broke but talented. We all hang out at potlucks or bonfires, swapping stories over cheap wine. I've spent years crafting this Jonas. Scrappy, relatable, just another creative scraping by. The trust fund was my shadow, always there, but never seen. Clara and I planned a proposal dinner to celebrate our engagement, inviting family and friends to a rustic venue in the Blue Ridge foothills. I was nervous, not about the commitment, but about keeping my secret in a room full of people who thought they knew me. Tessa was helping plan it, picking the menu, joking about toasting to our starving artist love. I trusted her. That was my mistake. The proposal dinner was set for a crisp October evening at the Rusty Barn, a converted farmhouse venue just outside Asheville. The place was all twinkle lights and weathered wood, with long tables draped in burlap and mason jars stuffed with wildflowers. Clara and I wanted it cozy, intimate, about 20 of us, family and close friends, to celebrate our engagement. I'd been jittery all week, not because I doubted Clara, but because gatherings like this felt like minefields. My secret, The $6 million trust fund lurked like a tripwire. One wrong step, and the life I'd built as Jonas Delgado, the scrappy graphic designer, could blow up. Tessa, Clara's sister, had been my rock in the planning. She'd haggled with the caterer for pulled pork and cornbread, even convinced the venue to let us bring our own wine to save cash. For my favorite broke couple, she'd winked, tossing her blue hair. I laughed, but her jabs about money always made my stomach twist. She knew about the trust fund, had known for 2 years, since that drunken night at her bar when I spilled my guts. She'd sworn to keep it locked tight, and I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was practically my sister. The night started perfectly. Clara glowed in a thrifted sundress, her curls catching the candlelight. Her parents, Dale and Marla, were passing around jars of their homemade blackberry moonshine, their drawls thick with pride. Priya and Leo, Clara's best friend and her husband, were cracking jokes about our hippie wedding plans. Desmond, my illustrator buddy, sketched goofy caricatures of the guests on napkins. I played my part, the slightly stressed, budget-conscious fiancé, fussing over the playlist and sneaking Clara kisses between refilling drinks. My Corolla was parked outside, its dented fender a badge of my struggle. No one suspected a thing. Dinner was served family style. Platters of ribs, collards, and mac and cheese. Tessa stood to give a toast, her glass of Pinot raised high. To Jonas and Clara, she started, her voice warm. Two dreamers who prove love doesn't need a big bank account. The room chuckled, and I forced a grin, my fork hovering over my plate. Her eyes locked on mine, and something in her smirk felt off. But let's be real, she continued. Jonas has been holding out on us. My heart lurched. The room was still laughing, thinking it was a bit. Clara squeezed my hand under the table, oblivious. Tessa's voice sharpened. I mean, come on, Jonas. You're sitting on $6 million. Why play broke when you're a freaking millionaire? Silence crashed over the table. Forks froze. Clara's hand stiffened in mine. Dale coughed into his napkin. Priya's jaw dropped, her cornbread crumbling in her fingers. I felt the air leave my lungs, my face burning as 20 pairs of eyes swung toward me. Tessa stood there, arms crossed, her expression a mix of triumph and venom. What? She said, feigning innocence. Thought it was time for honesty. Tessa. What the hell? Clara snapped, her voice low but fierce. What are you talking about? Oh, ask your fiancé, Tessa said, pointing at me. He's got a trust fund bigger than this whole damn farm, told me 2 years ago. Guess he didn't trust you with it. The room spun. Clara turned to me, her hazel eyes wide with confusion. Jonas, is this true? Her voice cracked, and that sound gutted me more than Tessa's betrayal. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My carefully built world was crumbling, and I was mute. Desmond broke the silence, laughing nervously. Yo, Tessa, you drunk? Jonas ain't rich. Guy drives a Corolla older than my dog. Check his bank account, Tessa shot back. He's been lying to all of us. Acting broke, mooching off potlucks while he's got millions stashed. Tessa, stop, I finally croaked, my voice hoarse. You promised. Promised what? She cut in, her eyes flashing. To lie for you? To watch you play poor while Clara plans a budget wedding? Screw that. Clara's chair scraped as she stood, her face pale. Jonas, say something. Now. Her words were a plea, but her eyes were steel. The room waited, the tension thick as fog. Tessa had lit the fuse, and I was seconds from detonation. My throat was sandpaper, Clara's stare pinning me like a bug to a board. The rusty barn's twinkle lights blurred as the weight of 20 gazes crushed me. Tessa's words, $6 million, hung in the air, a guillotine blade. I'd spent years hiding that trust fund, crafting Jonas Delgado, the scrappy everyman, only for it to unravel in seconds. Clara's plea, say something, echoed in my skull. I had to act, but my instincts screamed run. I stood, my chair wobbling. Clara, my voice cracked, pathetic. I cleared my throat, forcing my eyes to meet hers. It's true, I have a trust fund. $6 million. From my grandfather. The words tasted like ash. Gasps rippled through the room. Priya's fork clattered. Desmond muttered, no way. Clara's face crumpled, not with anger but something worse, hurt. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered, her voice small. That broke me more than Tessa's stunt. I wanted to grab her, explain everything, but the room was a minefield. Tessa smirked, arms crossed, like she'd won something. I shot her a look, why, but she just shrugged. I didn't tell anyone, I said, louder now, addressing the table. Not Clara, not my parents, no one. Only Tessa knew, and I trusted her to keep it quiet. My voice shook, anger creeping in. It's not about hiding from you, Clara. It's about me. I didn't want to be the rich guy. I didn't want people changing, looking at me like I'm a bank. Clara's eyes glistened, but she didn't move. Dale, her dad, leaned forward, his farmer's hands clasped. Son, that's a hell of a secret to keep from your fiancé. His tone was calm but heavy, like a judge. Marla, her mom, just stared, her moonshine jar forgotten. I turned to Tessa. You had no right. I told you in confidence. Why now? Why here? My fists clenched, nails biting my palms. I wasn't yelling, yet, but the urge was there. Tessa rolled her eyes. Oh, spare me, Jonas. You're playing martyr while Clara's scrimping for a wedding you could fund with pocket change. That's not noble. It's selfish. Her words stung, and a murmur of agreement from Leo, Priya's husband, felt like a knife twist. Selfish? I snapped. I've lived like I'm broke. I drive a junk car, rent a tiny loft, work freelance, because I wanted a real life, not a trust fund puppet show. My voice rose, and Clara flinched. I softened, turning to her. Clara, I was gonna tell you, after the wedding, I just needed time. Time? She said, her voice sharp now. We've been together 3 years, Jonas. You had time. She crossed her arms, stepping back. The distance between us felt like miles. I panicked, words spilling out. I was scared, okay? Scared you'd see me differently, or your family would, or… I gestured at the table. Everyone would. Money changes people. I've seen it. My cousins, friends, they got cash and turned into strangers. I didn't want that for us. Priya spoke up, her nurse's tone steady. Jonas, I get wanting to stay grounded, but lying to Clara? That's not protecting her. That's controlling the narrative. Leo nodded, and Desmond just shook his head, sketching nothing now. I sank into my chair, defeated. I wasn't lying, I mumbled. I was omitting. For us. But even I heard how weak that sounded. Clara's silence was louder than any shout. I reached for her hand, but she pulled away, her engagement ring glinting like an accusation. I need air, she said, grabbing her shawl and heading for the door. I started to follow, but Marla's hand on my arm stopped me. Give her space, Jonas. Her eyes were kind but firm. I nodded, numb, as the room buzzed with whispers. Tessa sipped her wine, avoiding my glare. I'd lost control, and the life I'd built was slipping through my fingers. Clara's exit left a void, the barn's warmth now stifling. The guests shifted awkwardly, their plates of ribs and cornbread forgotten. Tessa's bombshell, my $6 million trust fund, had turned the proposal dinner into a courtroom. Whispers buzzed, Priya murmuring to Leo, Desmond staring at his napkin sketch. I sat, hollow, as Clara's absence screamed louder than the chatter. Tessa broke the silence, her voice defiant. What? Everyone's acting like I'm the villain. He lied to you all. She pointed at me, blue hair swinging. Dale, Clara's dad, fixed her with a stare. Tessa, you didn't just spill a secret. You ambushed your sister's night. That's low. Marla nodded, her lips tight, and Tessa flushed, slumping back. Priya stood, her nurse's calm fraying. Jonas, I'm trying to understand. But Clara's devastated. You let her plan a budget wedding, stress over every dime, knowing you could have helped. Leo added, man, that's cold. Even if you didn't want to flaunt it, she's your fiancé. Their words landed like punches, each one bruising my resolve. Desmond, usually chill, spoke up. Dude, I thought we were tight. You're out here acting broke, splitting $10 tabs while you're a millionaire? That's weird. His disappointment stung worse than the other's anger. I wanted to explain how I feared money would warp our friendships, but my tongue felt leaden. Marla touched my shoulder. Jonas, Clara's hurt because you didn't trust her. She's not mad about the money. She's mad you hid it. Her voice was soft, but it cut deep. I nodded, throat tight, as the truth sank in. My secrecy had wounded the person I loved most. Tessa's phone buzzed, and she glanced at it, Paling. It's Clara. She's at the creek out back. She hesitated, then met my eyes. She doesn't want you there, Jonas. Just me. The room held its breath as Tessa grabbed her jacket and left. Jealousy flared. She'd caused this, yet Clara wanted her, but I stayed put, Marla's hand still on me. The guests started leaving, offering awkward goodbyes. Priya hugged me, whispering, fix this, Jonas. She loves you. Leo just shook his head. Desmond clapped my shoulder, but said nothing. Dale and Marla stayed, cleaning plates in silence. their presence a quiet anchor. I sat, staring at the wildflowers, replaying Clara's hurt expression. Tessa returned after 30 minutes, alone. "She's at our parents' farm," she said, avoiding my gaze. "She needs time." I waited for more, an apology, anything, but Tessa just grabbed her bag. "I didn't mean to hurt her," she muttered. "I just thought she deserved to know." Her voice lacked conviction, and I wondered what drove her betrayal. Envy? Resentment? I didn't ask. I was too tired. Dale approached, his boots heavy. "Go home, son. Give her a day. Then talk. Really talk." I nodded, numb, and drove my beat-up Corolla back to my loft. Mango, my cat, curled beside me as I lay awake. The trust fund's shadow darker than ever. Clara's family, our friends, they saw me differently now. Not Jonas, the artist, but Jonas, the liar. The fallout wasn't just Clara's pain. It was the fracture of my carefully built world, and I had no one to blame but myself. The next morning, my loft felt like a tomb, the exposed brick mocking my unraveling life. Mango pawed at my chest, but I barely noticed, my phone silent. No texts from Clara. Tessa's betrayal and Clara's pain consumed me. I'd hidden my $6 million trust fund to protect my authenticity, but all I'd done was build a lie that hurt the woman I loved. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to face her. I drove to Dale and Marla's farm, the Blue Ridge Mountains looming like a jury. My Corolla rattled up the dirt road, and I parked by their weathered barn. Clara was in the garden, kneeling among tomato vines, her curls tied back. She didn't look up as I approached, but her shoulders tensed. "Jonas," she said, voice flat. "I asked for space." "I know," I said, crouching a few feet away. "But I can't let this sit. I need to explain." She kept weeding, silent, so I plunged in. "The money. It's real. My grandfather left it. I didn't tell you because I was scared. Not of you, but of what money does. I've seen it ruin people, my cousins, friends. I wanted us to be real, not some rich guy and his fiancé." Clara's hands stilled, dirt smudging her fingers. "You didn't trust me," she said, finally meeting my eyes. "You thought I'd change, or my family would. That hurts more than the secret." Her voice cracked, and my chest ached. "You're right," I admitted. "I was wrong. I thought I was protecting us, but I was just controlling things. I'm sorry, Clara. I should have told you years ago." I pulled a folded paper from my pocket, a bank statement, the trust fund's balance in black ink. "This is it. All of it. I haven't touched it. I want you to know everything now." She took the paper, her eyes scanning the numbers. "6 million, she murmured. "And you live like you're broke." A bitter laugh escaped her. "Why? Jonas? Why hide this much?" "Because I love you," I said, voice raw. "I love our life. Potlucks, your frog mugs, our hikes. I didn't want money to change that. But I see now. I changed it by lying." I swallowed hard. "If you want out, I get it. But I'm here, all in, no more secrets." Clara set the paper down, her face unreadable. "I need time," she said. "Not because of the money, but because you broke my trust. I don't know how to rebuild that yet." She stood, brushing dirt off her jeans. "Go home. We'll talk soon." I nodded, heart heavy, and drove back. Days passed. Slow, agonizing. I worked on designs, fed Mango, and waited. Tessa texted once. "I'm sorry. I was jealous. You had everything." I didn't reply. Her motives clarified nothing. A week later, Clara called. "Meet me at the trailhead," she said. There, she handed me a clay frog, small and imperfect. "I made this," she said. "It's us. Flawed, but worth keeping." We talked for hours, raw and honest. She wasn't ready to forgive fully, but she wanted to try. I vowed to be open, no more shadows. The trust fund's still there, untouched. We're planning a small wedding, no secrets. I'm learning trust is messier than money, but Clara's worth every step. My reflection? Honesty's the only currency that matters.